The second noble truth of Buddhism states that suffering is caused by desire. The third noble truth of Buddhism states that the way to end suffering is to end desire. But this raises more than a few questions. After all, how could we survive if we had no desire to eat when we were hungry or to sleep when we were tired? How could we have good family relationships if we had no desire to see our loved ones treated well and living well in the world? And these are all good questions, and to answer them, we first need to take a hard look at a single word: desire. In the original text, Buddha uses the word tanha to describe desire, T-A-N-H-A, which most literally translates to unquenchable thirst. He describes it using the analogy of a man trapped at sea. He's thirsty, so he drinks the ocean water, but because it's filled with salt, the more he drinks, the more thirsty he becomes. By using this analogy, the Buddha is explaining to us that desire is not bad necessarily. However, it is endless, and we can never have enough. Thus, if we tie our happiness to the fulfillment of our desires, well, we'll never be happy. And of course, we have all experienced this at one point or another in our lives. Maybe we buy a new TV, and it's a beautiful 50-inch, and the picture looks great, and it's wonderful for watching movies. We have the surround sound, and we love our new TV until we visit a friend's home and realize that they have a 75-inch TV, which is bigger and more impressive than ours. Our TV has changed, but suddenly we don't like it quite so much, and we begin to go out looking for a bigger, more impressive model. The TV hasn't changed, but our desire has caused us to be unhappy with it. Or maybe we purchase a new car, and it has the new car smell, and it drives really well. We get the thumbs up in the parking lot when our coworkers see our new ride. And we love our new car until the new car smell wears away and we get a few dents, a few scratches, some wear and tear. Maybe we take it for the first oil change, and even though the car hasn't changed, even though it still gets us safely from point A to point B, we start looking for a newer, better model. Again, the vehicle itself hasn't changed, but our desire for something new has caused us to no longer find enjoyment in it. And of course, this can be true of anything: a home, a new relationship, a pet. If we allow ourselves to give in to our desires, then we are never satisfied with what's in front of us. And not only are we constantly unhappy, but we, by necessity, cause unhappiness for others because they can never live up to our constantly changing expectations. That's why it's the Buddhist position that we should do away with the search for happiness, do away with trying to fulfill our desires. Instead, we should lower our expectations, bring them down a few notches so that we become more content, more satisfied with what's right in front of us. And what I've found is when we practice contentment, when we lower our expectations, ironically enough, we become happier. Our coffee tastes better. We enjoy the ride to work more. We're more satisfied with life because we're no longer constantly looking at the horizon, hoping that something bigger and better will appear. So we find more satisfaction, more enjoyment with what's right in front of us. So, as Buddhists, if we find ourselves not liking our current vehicle, as an example, maybe instead of trying to think of a newer, better model we think about the good things about the one we already have. It's almost paid off. It still gets us from point A to point B. It's cheap for maintenance. Maybe if we find ourselves unsatisfied with the job we currently have, And assuming, of course, that we're not being mistreated in any way, instead of focusing on finding a new one, we think about what we like about the current one. It allows us to pay all of our bills on time. We have good hours. Our boss is appreciative of our work. These are some examples, but I think you get the idea. When that seed of discontent, that seed of desire enters our mind, it can be helpful to think about what's good, about the things we already possess. This raises our levels of satisfaction. It limits the desires that we possess, and thus we become happier with the things we already have. Desire isn't bad, but it's endless. So, it's better to not jump on that treadmill. Amitabha.